Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio.
She's Jaylin.
And he's Monte.
So buckle your seatbelts and get ready to take a trip towards reality.
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about today, Jaylin?
I think we're going to dive a little bit into surrender.
Surrender. Intriguing. Sounds kind of scary to me.
It can be.
Soul is me, my body is my vehicle. Soul is me, my body is my vehicle. Soul is me, my body is my vehicle. I am a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. You are a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. Energy is reality. Reality. Soul is indestructible. Soul is me. Soul is me. Energy is reality. Soul is me. Reality. Soul is me. So here we are.
Here we are. The eternal present. The infinite now.
Interesting place to be.
Yeah. It's when you think about the idea of infinite now.
Eternal, yeah.
That it is always now.
Yeah, the eternal now, for sure. That's all there is, essentially.
Yeah. That would be a good way to surrender.
It's just to understand that a bit more fully.
Or to, I guess what goes through my mind is surrendering to the infinite now.
Eternal.
Or,
yeah,
that's the same, Infinity, infinite, doesn't end. There's no beginning, there's no end.
Right. That's true.
So infinite and eternal are very complementary
Eternal
words.
is more of a time thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what comes up for me is if one is truly in the now, then they're surrendered because there's not thinking about, what do I need to protect myself from? And how do I want to navigate that situation that is in front of me? And, the infinite now is just right now.
Right. I mean, and the more we're in touch with the now, the more effective we are at dealing with whatever's in front of us. Because when we can get so caught up in just living in the past or living in the future.
Yeah.
And either one is sort of like a fantasy, either, no matter how you slice it, the past is kind of a fantasy because we remember some things, but we make up some things in our mind. They've studied that, and we have pretty good memories, but we tend to elaborate, relative to whatever our belief system is. So we change it up a little bit, and the future is never here, sort of, if I mean, that's one way of seeing it. But the interesting thing is we get so caught up in the past and the future, we miss the present.
Right.
We miss the present moment. And then if we're all caught up in just worrying about the future or being angry about the past or whatever it is, then there could be like a beautiful moment that that we could be experiencing that we just miss.
Absolutely. Yeah, what comes up for me with what you just said is the telomeres. And the telomeres is basically like a shoestring cap on your DNA. And the telomere gets worn down over time.
Yeah.
But what they have found, studies have shown that if someone... So once the telomeres wear down on the DNA, then the DNA can begin to fray, and then illnesses and like brain problems and memory problems and aging. And I mean, it's kind of why some people age faster than others is their stress level is higher. So their telomeres got worn down faster, and you know, they're just kind of exposed to the elements in some ways. And I remember studying this. It was a class called the Neurobiology of Trauma, and it was so fascinating. I loved it. I wrote so many notes, and I visited it so many times over the years. And the telomeres, the way to bring them back into resiliency and vitality is presence.
Okay.
So I remember I took this class 5 or 6 years ago now, and I remember being like, oh snap, what am I going to do? I don't know how to be present.
Right.
And we were already meditating, and I've been in yoga for decades now, you know,
you must
to be
have
present is...
Oh, you mean just day-to-day stuff?
Moment to moment,
Moment to moment. It's cool. Well, that's super cool, thinking you can heal your DNA essentially through finding connection with the moment.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're talking about, is just connecting more effectively with the moment.
Yeah.
It's something we're not trained to do, essentially.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of role models, you know, and I feel that older people naturally are more present.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely met some older people who are more present. You know,
it might be because they just haven't spent their entire life looking at a screen.
Maybe.
You know,
I'm not sure, but
yeah, or they just you're saying they're just naturally a bit wiser,
right? Because they, you know, they're in the midst of accepting their aging and, you know, just all of that.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like a really fun process by any means. And it's difficult and challenging. But there's this element of acceptance. And once the acceptance and the presence is there, then it's more graceful of a unfolding. Yeah.
Acceptance. And that's what I think of when you talk about surrender. You were talking about surrendering. For me, that's just like accepting what's in front of me. Because I do have that in me to be like, that's unacceptable. You know, no matter what, you know, in a lot of different ways, I can say that in my mind. That's but once I get into that mode of that being unacceptable, it kind of riles me up emotionally, or depresses me, or makes me scared, or makes me angry, you know, whatever it is. And, but just accepting what's in front of me as what's supposed to be happening right at this very moment just makes me much more effective in the moment. You know, when I can get there.
Yeah. And I feel like that's where we can make more clear decisions, because if we accept that, okay, this is happening, then there are things that just kind of, it's like the flow or
that's how to get
or a
into the
higher
flow.
impulse or something says, okay, now do this, now do this, now do this. And then before you know it, you made it like through this tunnel and it was completely out of your control. And I feel that when I'm vying for control, it's just way more clunky and, all this resistance and like hitting the walls and, and going in the closet and locking myself in there and can't figure out why I'm there. And it's like, but when you accept it and you're like, okay, this is what is.
Yeah.
And then something guides you through the challenge. And then it's like, oh, whoa. Okay, this wouldn't have been what I would have chosen, but this is how I moved through.
Yeah. Well,
so that's what comes up for me for acceptance, because I feel like when I've heard the word acceptance before, it's like, just accept your stuff and just accept that, this is your karma. Just accept it, and that has never sat good with me.
Yeah, right. Well, it's interesting too, because you talk about acceptance leads into not having this strong desire to control the moment.
Yeah, make it go the way I want it to.
But where the control comes in is we have to have some control over our mind to be able to find acceptance.
Right.
So that's where the control is. If we can learn to be that effective director of our own thoughts and our own, just have our thoughts reined in a little bit, not just let them run wild and go, stuck in rumination again.
Yeah.
Then from what I've noticed for myself is that when I get stuck in rumination, nothing feels good.
Right.
And I'm very disconnected from the moment because my spotlight of attention essentially just looping back onto my thoughts.
Yeah. I got this. I got this. I got this. I got this.
Yeah, right.
I got this.
It takes up half my bandwidth.
Yeah.
Because we all have like a certain amount of bandwidth. And if we spend it just ruminating and not accepting, I don't accept this. I don't accept it. And think of it, that leads to a feeling of, being the victim, or it leads to a feeling of like being enraged, or it leads to a feeling ultimately of depression because you feel like there's nothing you can do about it.
Hopeless.
And I want to change this. And I don't know, in our culture right now, that's kind of very common because the
feeling
message,
hopeless?
Feeling hopeless, feeling, that saying, if you're not
informed.
No, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention.
Oh.
That saying, and that's a saying that I have. I essentially disagree with it because I feel like if we're going to create a better world, if I'm going to be a part of that, it's going to be by creating a better world, which means like putting my energy into the solutions rather than whining about the problems.
Right. And I feel like you are so not alone in that. And there are some very wise spiritual teachers who absolutely agree that anger is something to be dealt with internally.
Well, you got to rein it in.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I thought of today actually was anger is like a lightning bolt, right? And
super fast.
Yeah, it's super fast, super powerful, but it's very occasional in nature.
For some people.
In nature.
Oh, okay.
Lightning is very, it's not happening all the time. It's not happening every day.
And it doesn't happen all over the world either.
Well, so anger's like that. I mean, I don't want to let go of my anger. I like my anger in the sense that it can help keep me safe at times, or it can help protect my house. Or there are moments where anger is effective and appropriate, I believe. But in our culture, we live in this culture that kind of trains us to be angry like all the time, or a lot of the time,
or that
I should say
it's approvable. culturally accepted to be angry.
It's culturally not accepted to not be angry. People get mad at you for not being angry.
Yeah.
People get mad at you for suggesting that self-righteous anger is actually a problem in our culture, and
I feel like I just want to support that thought with some teachers that I really look up to. And Ajay Shanti talks about the perfection of the moment all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so does Carolyn Mace.
Yeah, right. Well,
it goes on and on. Pretty much the people who have evolved their spiritual eyes or their spiritual perception, that's one of the qualities that can help a person know if they're awakening or not, is if they're willing to see the perfection in the moment, see the divine in everyone and everything.
Yeah, right. And
I'm not saying I'm there.
No,
I'm just saying that's what I've
I love that.
all of my research.
Yeah, seeing the divine in everyone. That's really important because that really helps crush the judgment. And how we're all on one hand divine, on the other hand we're all wounded and confused, but it's there's a continuum, where do we draw, where does our mind draw its energy from our woundedness and our confusion, or from our divine essence, and we all have some of both,
right?
The key, I think, for me, is to tap more into my divine essence and to, reduce the amount of input from my confused woundedness, and just move forward.
I think there's something in accepting your confused woundedness too.
Well, there is. There is, absolutely.
That's where these conflicts come from, is my woundedness is up against your woundedness, and we're just scratching at pussy wounds,
and what good does that do?
How do you... Well, it's part of the story. It's, acknowledging and accepting it is part of that story too. Yeah. And then, oh, wait, you're a divine being. Okay, how do I work with this in my mind? We're scratching each other's pussy wounds, and we're both divine.
Yeah.
I think part of the spiritual path, from what I've researched and experienced, is there's always a paradox going on. That's a part of being a individual human until that is overcome. The paradox is overcome, it will just continue to show itself, because it's not this or that, it's this and that.
Yeah, we're essentially spiritual
You're
beings,
right and I'm right. What I'm saying? I think that doesn't happen enough. Well, and that's why we get angry, because it's not like you're right and I'm right. It's like I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we dig into our positions, and then nothing changes, and there's just bad energy flying around. And the bottom line is the energy is the reality, of communication, of life. Energy is the foundation of matter. Energy is all there is. According to Hermetics, and modern physics. Let's take a look at that, but presence helps to shift the energy. Acceptance and presence helps to shift the energy into a much more elevated kind of state. Because it's the anger and the guilt and all that just keeps us feeling down, and what we're doing is we're disconnecting from the higher vibration of the divine. If I'm stuck in anger, I'm not connected. I might pretend I'm connected,
right. But energy is real.
Yeah, and my vibration's very not in line with the Tao at that point.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I'm motivated to get in line with the Tao, is that in the Tao Te Ching it says, you get in line, you get in harmony with the Great Mother, and the Great Mother will take care of you. I'm saying, that sounds good. I think it's real for me. I don't know if that's real for other people, but
I think so. I mean, I think
solution focused.
Right. And what I love, okay, so a few things came up from what you just shared. One I want to speak to is congruency. And it's like congruency versus cognitive dissonance. So when the words and the energy are in alignment, then real communication can happen. But if the words are just what somebody wants to hear and the energy is combative or something like that, then that's going to create, you know what I'm saying? It's going to, it removes us from the present moment to be incongruent. And congruency is not an easy thing for most of us. So it's just something that we're working towards. The other piece, okay, two more pieces. The other piece is Adyashanti explains that the reason why we go through difficulties is because we're here on this human plane, on this earth plane, to experience what it is to be separate, to be an individual. And if everybody loved us and supported us and backed us and, you know, encouraged us to flourish, then we would never care to be separate because we're totally absorbed and supported. Yeah. But if the goal is to come here and realize that we are separate beings and that's what we're here to realize, but then in all reality, the deeper reality is that we are all divine beings and all interconnected.
Yeah.
But we have to get to that separation first. And that's what he speaks of. And the last thing I want to share is when we're talking about these ruminations and these difficult things that come up and make it difficult to be in the present moment or to accept our situation. So there's two schools of thought. And one is the Buddhist school of thought with the 5 hindrances, and the other is a more Christian school of thought with the 7 deadly sins. And anger is in both of those. And so both of these things are saying that if anger is fogging your ability to see, then you will not see the reality.
Right. I mean, you'll create a bunch of bad karma for yourself.
Right.
Basically, I mean, that's what anger does. You put blinders on, and you can only hone in on
what supports your beliefs.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why, and that can be a problem. I mean, it's definitely not a way to see the entire picture. Yeah. You know, there's a short burst. I mean, there are some like positive like things to anger is it can put somebody like in the moment temporarily, but in an angry moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it's like the same moment that heals your telomeres.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, and that's if we get angry and we stay there, we do things we don't mean, we say things we don't mean, and we just create all this wake of problems.
Yeah.
And whatever that is, and we have enough problems. You know, I mean, that's the thing about the human condition, and acceptance is part of the human condition. Is we just have a series of challenges coming at us our entire lives, and if we face those challenges with a perspective of I don't accept this, then we're really not going to grow. We're going to turn very. We're going to be depressed. We're going to be
resentful.
Resentful. Right, the whole thing.
Isolating,
angry,
avoidant,
self-righteous, whatever. And
there's so many ways.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why you flip it on its head, and each challenge is this opportunity to find acceptance and to grow and to learn. Every single challenge is that, and if we can reframe the challenges as a gift, essentially. And just what we need to grow and learn and evolve, then it just gives life a completely different spin. I mean, then we're much more balanced, and clear-minded, and kind of realistic. I mean, the person who complains about every challenge that comes their way, they're not being very real, because this is life. You know, I don't care how much money you have. I don't care who you are. You have a series of challenges that are coming at you, and they're going to continue to come at you until we're out of this, you know, temporary vehicle, you know, our bodies, you know.
It seems, and I'd like to close on this point before our next song, but it seems that the way to really be in the moment and accept is also to connect with that creator force energy that can help us flow through rather than resist.
Well, that's it. And you connect through presence.
Right.
Through non-judgmental awareness. It's like almost like a spiritual perspective.
Absolutely.
And that's the definition of mindfulness right there. And it's something we can take with us just throughout the day. And that's what we need to become more skillful at, essentially, culturally, as like all of humanity. We need to be able to, well, we don't need to. It'd be beneficial for us to be able to watch our thoughts and be the director of our thoughts, and notice when we're going off track. Notice when we're getting into that place of judgment, of hatred, of self-hatred, of the whole thing. I mean, that our minds are very habitual. Our thoughts are habitual, and we just need to create better habits.
And our coping mechanisms are what we've created to survive the difficulties that we've survived.
Yeah, and if they don't benefit us anymore, we have to develop new coping mechanisms, such as just being present and having acceptance.
Yes. And surrender to a divine force, a divine flow.
Yeah, just try and get in harmony with that flow. I mean, and from that perspective, that surrender, that acceptance, that connecting with the divine flow, actually, the end result is it makes you vastly more powerful. You know, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then we can use that power for positive things instead of hurting each other, which us humans like to do.
Yeah, that's just a coping mechanism. But let's talk
pattern.
more about this after the song. Enjoy.
This is the Love Rebellion, slow version, in 11.
Oh my busy, busy mind, how you do spin in so many directions, holding your many plates, thinking, oh my busy, busy mind, how do we let go of the past patterns and pave our way into the new world, free, free, free. It's a love rebellion. It's a love rebellion. It's a love rebellion. It's a love rebellion. Love rebellion. Love rebellion. Love rebellion, Don't believe the hype, y'all.
Love is the answer.
Free yourself from the propaganda. Peace. Peace. Peace, y'all. Peace. We are all valuable human beings on this earth. Peace. 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 Oh my busy mind. How I do wish to find a solution to heal our divided peoples. Oh my busy mind. It is time to be at peace. Take a breath. Be centered, present in this moment. In this moment. In this moment. It's a lovey-billion. 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 Love one another as you would love yourself. Love yourself as you would a young child. Bless, accept, compassion. Give people slack. There's no one to blame. There is no one to blame.
Love is the answer.
Connect. Connection. Compassion. Contribution. Give. Receive. Receiving takes openness.
Be the answer.
Peace, y'all. Peace. We need peace.
Manifest.
It's a lovey-billion. 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 It's a lovey-billion.
Be the change.
you want to see
Be the change.
in the world.
Be the change.
Be the change. Be the peace.
Change.
Be the love. Be the compassion. We can only start with ourselves.
Manifest. Positive. Creating a better world.
Peacefully,
Lovingly.
compassionately,
Towards yourself.
and others.
It's a love rebellion. We got this, people. We are all in this together.
Yes, we are.
All of us.
Welcome back. So I just want to give a little lowdown on these 5 hindrances and the 7 dark passions or deadly sins, as some people say. So the 5 hindrances to mindfulness are sensual desire or desiring too much positive, ill will and aversion, which includes anger, dullness and heaviness, restlessness and anxiousness, and doubt. Those are the 5 hindrances to mindfulness from Buddhism. And then the dark passions. So this is a deep dive from Carolyn Mace called A Time for Grace. And she goes into the dark passions and how they rule us and how we need to use grace to surrender, basically. So the first one is pride. And she says, I think this is really, whoa. She says that one of the biggest human fears is the fear of being humiliated, and how we'll do all kinds of nasty things to get back at someone if they humiliate us or to try to avoid humiliation. Coveting other people's stuff or greed is the next one. Self-entitlement is the third one. Wrath is the fourth one. Gluttony, which this one really kind of shocked me. I can't find it really quick. I didn't underline it. But any kind of mindless consumption and anything in which you will give permission to others to abuse you because of something that you'll get out of it, whether that be their approval or whatever. So I think that was a new way of thinking of gluttony for me, because I thought it was just overconsumption. Envy or jealousy, sloth. So you can see how some of these, the 5 hindrances and these 7 dark passions they overlay each other very well. The sloth or the laziness or procrastination. Oh, that's the last one. That's the 7th one. So I've been really looking at these and trying to be honest with myself on how am I ruled by these hindrances, basically, and dark passions, and how do I surrender? So that was kind of why we chose this topic today, because I've literally been thinking on this for 2 weeks now, pretty much daily. Like, how do I surrender? How do I surrender? And so these hindrances are natural. These are natural things that get out of hand. And they get out of hand because they became a coping mechanism for us to get through things in our life. And we found them to be advantageous, and so they become habits. Would you agree?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's that, but also in this culture, a lot of that stuff is we're exploited,
right,
by people who try and, for example, sell us products by making us feel insecure. And well, if I buy that product, I'll feel better. And or we're exploited. We're trained to have, be hateful. I mean, that's part of another part of the cultural conditioning. I think so. It's their coping mechanisms plus, different
cultural norms.
Yeah, they're cultural issues, which if we're going to have a more enlightened culture, we need to address those issues, right? Where, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like one thing Carolyn May says is these things are easy. Being envious, being greedy, being angry, being gluttonous. These things are easy because it's like just kind of like you're saying, instilled by the culture. It's normal.
Yeah.
It's worked for us
we
in the past.
Raised that way.
Yep.
We were raised that way. Our parents were like that, and they taught us to be like that.
Yeah.
And for me, if you're talking about Buddhism, I would just apply like the middle path to all that, and just if we can keep it all in moderation. Like we can have some gluttony, but just let it be moderate. It's not the norm. It's not the huge. We can have some anger. Let it be moderate. We can have some, sensual things. Let it be moderate. The whole thing. As long as if we walk the path of the middle path, then we're in balance.
I can see that. I feel like that is a nice way to be in the transition of improving self.
Yeah.
Is to think of it in that term of the middle path and moderation.
Yeah.
Because what I was going to say is that Carolyn May says this stuff is easy. The hard stuff is to make the choices to not do those things.
Right. Well, that's a change.
And it's a serious change because this is something that was probably passed down to you from these are things that your family, like the ones that stick out for you are the ones that your family have all used for generations.
Down. Yep. Passed down. Yeah. And it's up to, and essentially, I believe it's up to us now to shift these ancient patterns to a more productive way of living. I mean, to get out of these old unproductive mind habits and create new productive mind habits. And I think that's up to us. That's our responsibility being alive in 2024.
Right. And there's a lot at stake, and the biggest gift we can give each other as humans is working on our personal inner peace.
Oh, yeah.
And when we do that, we create a peaceful ripple. Yes. It goes to our neighbor, it goes to our friend, it goes to our family, it goes to our community. And it's what did you say? We can't afford to not be angry or something like that is like the cultural norm. Like, what did you say?
I don't know.
If you're not angry.
Oh, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, that. And I feel like if you're not peaceful, you're not trying,
Yeah, right.
And that, to me, I feel like it's just so imperative. There's so much on the line here. There's so much war going on. There's so much unrest and divisiveness. And what are we going to do? Yeah. Are we going to continue to divide ourselves amongst?
Are we going to solve it by being hateful? And I doubt it.
Or continuing these hindrances, And it's like, no, the best thing each one of us can do is to look inside and go, okay, so what if these things rule my subconscious? And how do I face them?
Yeah.
And, finding spiritual path buddies. I love that kind of stuff, and being able to hold each other accountable, and are you still doing that thing that you said you were going to do? Or
and speaking of spiritual path buddies, what Yogananda suggests,
yes, thank you,
is that buddy, that spiritual buddy, is we develop a connection with the divine, and we talk. I mean, what he suggests is that people have conversations in their mind. He said whispered conversations, so subtle conversations with the divine just throughout the day. And he said, well, and don't tell other people about this, just do it. But it could be an opportunity to ask the divine, and use whatever word you want, but just ask, what should I do right now? What should I think right now? How should I be right now? What do you want of me right now? Just stuff like that, and see what comes back. And essentially, one way of looking at it is just getting in touch with our higher self, because we all have that. I mean, instead of walking around ruminating, and ruminating to me is the hindrance.
Right. It's what all the hindrances lead to.
It's like this huge problem in our culture. We just think way too much, and it makes us feel terrible, and then we blame others. And when in reality, the reason we feel terrible, or a lot of it, is because we're ruminating.
Yeah, it's no fun.
But you can, one way to reduce that is to develop this relationship with the divine, or with an angel, or with your higher self.
Or with the presence.
Well, presence comes out of that.
Oh, okay. Because I feel like sometimes I'll be like, I'm ruminating. Oh, okay, actually, I'm sitting here at this table, and there's books around me, or whatever,
Well, yeah, I mean, and for me, I will share one instance I had this week.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I have my word for the divine. I said that, and I said, what should I do right now? The answer that comes back is breathe. It's like, okay, and then lengthen your exhale. Okay. That's cool. I'm down with that. Is that my higher self telling me what to do? Fine. That's good. Yeah. That's what I want to get in touch with.
Sure. Your higher self is connected to the divine anyway. So.
Well, that's it. It's the conduit.
However you want to.
Yeah, however you want to.
See it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
and that's available. According to Yogananda, that's available to all of us. But we just have to put that effort in.
Yeah.
Try it out. And see if it helps. You find more peace, essentially, because peace is the answer. And when my mind is peaceful, it's going to be a group of peaceful, innovative, compassionate people that change the world for the better. That's the reality, and I think it's probably destined to happen.
Hopefully,
yeah,
we'll find out.
And according to Carolyn Mace, too, it's like one person who's lined up, who is in harmony with the Tao, in harmony with the divine, that one person is more powerful than 1 million people who aren't. Something like that, she said. Back in the day, I remember hearing it. And it's like, so it's not just a 1-for-1 numbers game here.
Right.
We actually have this infinite intelligence out there, and all we're trying to do is tap into that. And the more we tap into it, the more we tap into the power of it.
Yeah.
It's
I love that you said that.
And omnipotent power. I
love that you said that, because I feel like one of the things that an individual can feel is, I'm just one person. How would me being peaceful make a difference?
Yeah.
But if you think about that, being a peaceful, loving, emanating of divine being is worth 1 million confused
angry people. Yeah.
Then that's very important. It's like, you mean I can outweigh 1 million people?
Yeah. Even if it's not that, specifically, but it's just the idea that tapping into this omnipotent and omniscient force is going to make you much more powerful than not tapping in.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's kind of fun too. You can gamify that in your mind. It doesn't have to be so heavy because life is just a dream. I mean, 100 years goes by like a flash of lightning. I have this temporary vehicle that I call my body. I don't want to get too caught up in it, caught up in these little details. And it's just like, I can ruin myself that way, or I can just accept. I can be in acceptance and try and align my mind with the divine and see what happens.
Yeah. And I think that...
Go for that ride.
To wrap it back around to the beginning and just the whole idea of the telomeres and your DNA and how us being in presence, being willing to be peaceful, being willing to notice the moment as it is, not how we want it to be or not how we're afraid of it being, but as it is, we're going to be healthier. We're going to be more steady, more resilient, more tolerant.
We'll have more equanimity.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, people, if you want to hang out with other people who have equanimity, because they're trustworthy. Right? And somebody who's can see the positive along with the negative too. It's like, because that's the thing. Any moment has a negative aspect and a positive aspect. And we can, ideally, you want to see the entire picture. But then if you want to create change, you shine your spotlight of attention on to the positive end. You create, instead of fighting the negative. But you see the entire thing. You're not repressing anything.
Or if you can't do either, you just find acceptance in the moment and just be in the moment.
Yeah, which is like...
It's not necessarily leaning towards the positive. It's just saying, nope, I'm right here.
There you go. Okay, here. Neutrality.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're in that neutral mind, the mind is...
Like, it could go that way and it would be really awesome, or it could go that way and it would really suck.
But here we are.
But I'm right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And right at this very moment, I have a roof over my head, etc.
Yeah. So I hope y'all enjoyed our talk and our shares on music. And we'll be back next month, and enjoy your march into spring. Enjoy all the beauty and the energy of vital life force that happens in the springtime. And do you have anything that you want to say before we close?
Yeah, from my perspective, just the energy that we emanate out into the world is so vitally important to our own happiness and the happiness of our families, our culture,
and our health.
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole thing. It's so think for yourselves, find moments of clarity, be wary of rumination, be moderate with your screen time. That's a big deal. And occasionally try and see the good in things, because there's a lot of good to see too. Yeah.
Being in the present moment is a lot easier to see the good.
Yeah. Feel that sunshine and hear the birds. Yes.
All right, friends, be well. We'll talk again soon. sisters and brothers, daughters and sons. We all live together here on this planet Earth, under the one sun, one sun. I reach across the divide, see my reflection. 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 We are born, we live and we die. So let's fully play this game of life under the one sun, one sun. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now. We are sisters and brothers, daughters and sons. We all live together here on this planet Earth, under the one sun, one sun. I reach across the divide, see my reflection. 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 We are born, we live and we die. So let's fully play this game of life under the one sun, one sun. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now, right now. Love one another right now, right now.